Hi, it's Kelsey Davis, and in this video on instruction and assessment for English language learners, we're going to talk a little bit about what you as a mainstream classroom teacher can do with your students' access scores after receiving them, how you can use the scores to inform your instruction and plan assessments that best meet the needs of your culturally and linguistically diverse students. In my last video, I talked to you about what the access test is, and in this video, again, I'm just going to kind of tell you what you can do once you receive the scores. So you will receive scores in each of the 4 language domains, which are listening, speaking, reading, and writing. You'll also receive several composite scores and an overall composite that just basically tells you your student's progress towards English language proficiency. There are 6 different levels that your student can score, the first one being entering, and then the last one, level 6, being reaching, with different levels in between those 2 amounts. And so as a classroom teacher, you can use something called the WIDA Can Do Descriptors to make instructional decisions, plan activities for your students, and again, design assessments appropriate to their needs. It's so important as a classroom teacher that just because a student is possibly lacking in some English language proficiency skills, you do not assume that they're lacking in content area knowledge. You never want to water down content or not have high expectations for your students based on their English language proficiency level. You just kind of have to switch things up a bit to better meet their needs. Just like you would differentiate for a student with an IEP, it's important to keep in mind the importance of differentiating for your English language learners. So, in this example, I'm going to show you this document is the Can Do Descriptors, and you can find this online, and it also is sold in a book form. But across the top, you will see that this English language proficiency standard that I'm currently on is the language of mathematics. In the last video, I told you that there are 5 different English language proficiency or development standards: language of instruction, the language of mathematics, the language of language arts, the language of social studies, and the language of science. In this example, we're just going to go with the language of math. It's broken down into different grade level bands, so I'm currently on the page grades 3 through 5 because I teach 3rd grade, and so that's most helpful to me to be on this page. Along the side, you will see the 4 language domains: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And then across the top, you can see the different levels that we talked about. So level 1, again, is entering, all the way to level 6, which is the highest level you can get, reaching. This document will tell you what your English language learning students can do at each of the different levels. So for example, let's say that you're currently studying fractions, and you are creating an assessment where you want students to write to kind of describe their thought process in solving a fraction problem. If your student is currently at a level 1, the entering level, in the domain of writing, the student would be able to, in this example, label fractional parts of diagrams or realia from number word banks. This lets you know that as a classroom teacher, a level 1 student is not ready to write complete sentences or even phrases yet independently, but providing the student with a word bank helps make the content more accessible to the student. Let's go now to a level 3, developing. If your student was at a level 3, the Can Do descriptors say that the student could give the step-by-step process of how to solve problems involving fractions from diagrams using a series of related sentences. So at a level 3, it would be okay to expect a student on an assessment to be able to produce sentences independently. If you look down here to the level 5, bridging, this student could create original problems involving fractions and embed them in scenarios and situations. So again, you can see how it's kind of a continuum of what students are able to do, going all the way from level 1 to level 6, which is reaching. This document is so handy when designing instructional activities and assessments because we all know that you're still expected to instruct and assess on the standards that your state uses. However, this helps break it down for you and give you some ideas for differentiation on how you can best meet your English language learners' needs. This is a really handy document. I definitely recommend that you check it out, especially if you have ELLs in your mainstream classroom. Thank you.